Good evening, lovely spirits. Greetings in the sign of the rising sun. It's the wise servant of the life, Pasampaset, Mr. Solace, peace and wisdom. Now this evening I want to do this video called The Secret Agendas. And in order for you to grasp this video, I need all of you to understand this. The system has a unique way of working. It uses the people to oppress the people for it. So it uses the oppressed to do the dirty work for it. It's a very deep thing I want y'all to grasp. In the past, you had overseers. And the overseers would beat the slaves and things like this for the master. So there you have an example of the oppressed oppressing the oppressed for the oppressor. So this is how the system works. It uses the people to oppress the people for it. So you had overseers who were nothing more than slaves themselves beating other slaves. In today's times, you have cops. They're nothing more than regular civilians, no different than you. But cops oppress all of us for the system. So it's a very deep thing. It's the same as the judge that gives you your sentence. It's just a worker doing its job for the system. So it's a very deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Now, my point of saying that is this. If there's any lies or false information pushed out, the system is the cause of it. So you have many people in today's times teaching this and teaching that. And some of the stuff we may deem as false information. But we have to understand where that false information came from. It didn't come from the person. Because we all know that everyone in today's times, their wisdom is based on what they heard or read, which is the same, or saw, which is the same. The eyes are for seeing in the light, and the ears are for seeing in the dark. So when I say what you hear, see, read, it's all the same. Men of today, their wisdom is based on that. So whatever knowledge they have, there lies the question. Where did the seed of this knowledge come from? And is this knowledge that I have an agenda knowledge that truly comes from the system? So you have many different teachings of today, and you have many different people teaching these things. But where did the seed of these teachings truly come from? It's a very deep thing. This is why I stick to learning from the life. Have my own teachings. The sperm is the spirit. Things like this. It's very important that y'all grasp this. You have like flat earth, Pan-Africanism, aliens, all these different teachings or theories of today. But they all have a start. And no one's concerned with the start, but we're all concerned with the person we idolize that we heard it from. So it's a deep thing. Pan-Africanism started before Marcus Garvey, but many people are a part of it because they love Marcus Garvey. So you see how it's a deep thing? Flat Earth started with a brother named John Hampton. But I'm going to get into that. But many people don't know this. All they know is whatever brother they like that they heard it from. That's who they know. That's the start of it for them. But they never think of the seed. Where did this seed come from? So it's a deep thing. Now, when you're dealing with flat earth, this was started by John Hampton in 1892. Now, when I say started by John Hampton, yes, men in all history of time, at one point in time, in their advancement in knowledge, thought the earth was flat. So I'm not saying John Hampton started the idea of the earth being flat. I mean, if the earth was destroyed now and men begin again, well, they would naturally just think it was flat until they advance in the sciences of life. This is why when you go to the ancient civilizations that we deem as great and wise, like the Sumerians, the Kemetics, they have no talks of earth being flat. The wise don't even deal with that. That's foolish. All is energy taking its shape and form for the moment. So, a man may be fat one year, a man may be skinny the next, and all is just changing shape and form. It's all just energy. But in any event, I don't want you to get lost and say, no, John Hampton in 1892, he didn't start flat earth. People thought the earth was flat way before that. Yeah, all civilizations think the earth is flat until they advance in the sciences of life. But when I say John Hampton started it, I am talking about a society. See, flat earth is just a concept, a thought. Why do you have to have a society around this thought? Grasp. Now, in 1892, John Hampton started this thing, and then after that, Samuel Rehobotham, he founded the UZS, which is the Universal Zetic Society. So what John Hampton started in 1892, Samuel Rehobotham shaped and finished and formed it into a society, a secret society, called the Zetic Society. Then after that, in around 1956, it became International Flat Earth Society, and it had many presidents. I think the first one was Samuel Shenton, something like that. But my point is this: why did a concept become an organization or a society? Because it has an agenda. So you have to grasp. Flat Earth is just a thought. Globe Earth, thought. Why do you have to have an agenda or a society? Why has this become that? So you have to grasp. Now, you have many flat earthers of today. They have nothing to do with the International Flat Earth Society. They don't even know this exists. They don't even know that their teachings that they thought, man, this is nothing more than a concept, that I'm pushing out to the people so they grasp. They have no clue that their little teachings has a whole society behind it. That has its starts back in the 19th century. Have presidents and all types of, it's a whole organization. And we know organizations have business, meaning profit. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Now, all this flat earth stuff, this starts with, Caucasians. And, it becomes a society and an organization and all these things because all societies and organizations have an agenda. If you're a part of something and it is a society or it's an organization, then it's more than just a way of life or a religion or something in that sort. It's more than just that. So you have to grasp. We have yogis, people that like to indulge in yoga. When you see, I hope it's not already, it may be, but when you see yogi or yoga becoming a society or an organization with products, then you have to grasp. Then an agenda has been bloomed somewhere in the darkness. And it's a very deep thing. This flat earth thing is it's an agenda to get the population going against one another. Because if the population is on the same thought, this is harmony. So even if that thought is a lie, it's still harmony. And this is not good for the system. You have to keep things in disarray, in chaos, to keep control. People have to be in fear and uneasy for the system to have control over people. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. The whole flat earth thing was just to counteract the globe thing, because the globe thing became the universal populated thing. Not universal, but I want to say as far as the earth go, everyone goes with globe at a certain point in time. And then you notice flat earth thing is starting to get popular. The reason for that is to create drag or chaos in a sense. You know, you don't want people in harmony. So there was a point in time when everyone thought the earth was flat, and this was no good. So then the earth became globe. And this creates friction amongst the people. So that's the whole purpose of it. Then globe begin to catch to where you got it being taught in school and everywhere. And this is too much harmony. They may harmonize on something else and something else. And so then there will always be something to counteract anything that the population is all going towards. So if you look at the times in today, you see how everybody believes in something different? This is for a reason. Many different thoughts and different ideas are planted out there purposely through the popular and just through the people in general. But the people have no clue. They think like, nah, this is real, and it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. It's just like Pan-Africanism. This started with Henry Sylvester in 1897. Now, there was talk of Pan-Africanism all throughout the 1800s, prior to Henry Sylvester. But he made it like an organization, the Pan-African Society, and it became an organization more than just a nationality. How does a nationality become an organization? So you have to begin to grasp, hold on. This is more than just a teaching and an uplifting people, but it's an organization that has a start that you can look up. So you can look this up, Henry Sylvester, 1897. It's a very deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Now, like I said, there was talks prior to this. This is how you got the shaping and forming of the Pan-Africanism movement or society, which was started in 1897 with Henry Sylvester. So you got people all around talking about this new thing. And then Henry Sylvester just, shapes and forms it. And then from there you get like Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, and many others that teach and push this out. Now, what's interesting about this is in 1800s, this is when school became kind of popular to the population. Prior to that, school wasn't a popular thing. It was a new thing in America. Natives didn't go to school, or they didn't have schools in a sense like how we got with college and all. That's weird. So I want you to grasp that didn't catch here until like the 1800s. Now, a lot of schools say founded in 16 whatever. But check how many students they had in 1600s. You'll be surprised when it say something like 50, 75, and they're all white. And so things like this you have to grasp. But around the 1800s, this is when college began to get popular. And black people were deprived of knowledge for a long time. So as soon as school became popular, black people were the first going. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Now, school was made for brainwashing. So it's a thing that the system uses. In the past, people learned from the life. And they learned directly from people that they knew. But school was a thing where, everyone's going to know the same thing the same way. So it was a brainwashing thing that people don't even realize. It's just like in today's times where they say, oh, this kid has ADHD, and they're speaking according to the system. So according to the system, the kid has ADHD because he doesn't sit still like a slave. He doesn't listen. Now, if you remove the system, then there's really nothing wrong with that. That's just regular kids' behavior. But the system wants kids to sit at desk like adults. So it's like training to be a slave. So this is why you have that little problem with like ADHD. And we believe these things, forgetting that, hold on, the system is fake. And everything that we have, it's patent to the system. So the kid has a problem because he doesn't fit with the system. So that don't necessarily mean he got a problem when you really look at it. Maybe the system got the problem. It's oppressing people. And this is creating all the weird things we have, like ADHD and bipolar depression. And the system is deeming these things that. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. But my point of saying that schools got popular in the 1800s is because this is when that talk became popular. Not popular, but this is when that talk began to form. And this all comes from white people in their schools, shaping and forming and planting seeds in people's minds. Prior to this, everybody that was black in America viewed themselves as descendants of the natives. Then around 1800s, you start to get this Pan-African talk. And this is around the same time schools begin to get popular. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. African is a white thing. Prior to white people calling Africa or those countries or lands over there, all Africa, they was just separate places. Different people, or the way they viewed it. So African is a white thing. So you would expect a Pan-African movement, which is black people, teaching their black people we're all Africans. You would think they wouldn't use that word if it truly comes from them. So I'm just showing you. It really was the schools and the white people that shaped and formed this whole Pan-African movement. Because if it truly came from a black person, they wouldn't even have used that word. Grasp that. If this really came from Marcus Garvey and the black people that we revere, and it truly came from their thoughts, they would have never used the word African. Pan-African, they wouldn't have used that word because that's an oppressive word. That word represents the colonizing of Africa, making all those places one place. So that's what that truly represents. And if it came from a black person or a real African, they would be teaching an actual place. It wouldn't be called Pan-Africanism, but it would be called whatever place you're from. See, even the Africans in today don't refer to themselves as Africans in Africa. They refer to themselves as wherever they came from. So no African would ever teach you Africanism. I want you to grasp what I'm telling y'all. This is so deep. And I'm not saying that these people do this on purpose, but we idolize people. So it's a deep thing. Dr. Umar Johnson, he idolizes Marcus Garvey. He puts no thought into where did Marcus Garvey get his education, because that's important. And this is my point. Marcus Garvey got his education from white man college. Therefore, he uses the word Africanism, forgetting that, hold on, but this is my point. And we go out and we teach this. And then, this is all the white people's agenda. Not the white people, but the oppressor's agenda. All the blacks think they're natives. This is harmony. This ain't good. Because prior to the popular Pan-African talk that you hear today, everybody say, I had Indian in my family. All black people viewed themselves as native to the land, or native to the descendants of the natives of the land. All black people viewed themselves as that. All Dominican, Haitians, all these people on these different islands, all view themselves as the descendants of the people that were there. This is what we've always thought. People in Colombia, they've always viewed themselves as the descendants of the natives that were in Colombia when the Europeans came. That's just a normal thought of anyone with a brain. Then at some point in time, this African thing pops up. So I want y'all to truly grasp how deep this is. This all stems from white people. You know how you can tell? Look at the name. Africanism. It's a deep thing. Then you got the OOA, out of Africa theory. This is white scientist stuff. And the reason for this, now this was always deemed as foolish amongst the science community up until the 90s. So the OOA theory, the out of Africa theory, this is not a new theory. This was just a theory that was always viewed as completely stupid among scientists. It's just dumb. Protons, neutrons, electrons create an atom. A bunch of atoms create molecules. One person populate, so they just viewed it like that's dumb. You're not going to get a variety of things from one. That'll put the life in a dead end. So the theory was always viewed as stupid. But at some point in the 90s, it just began to be pushed on the people. So it was added to the whole Pan-Africanism thing. You see how they add seeds to it? So now, you know, a Pan-Africanism follower would say, well, nah, you scientists already got it. The out of Africa theory, and they don't realize this come from white scientists. Just like the word African. Just like the word Africanism. So it's a deep thing. Our people are so lost in today's times. It's just truly a deep thing. All of this is agendas being pushed by the people to the people for the oppressor. It's a deep thing. You got our own brothers and sisters teaching this in ignorance because there's no thought truly going into it. And you know why? Because these things become businesses and organizations. Once that happens, you're never going to speak truth into a person's ear. So I'm never going to make those that are a part of this Pan-African movement, like Dr. Umar Johnson, etc., they'll never hear me. They get paid off this business. Nationality is now a business. And it's a deep thing. You got a lot of business that's built off it, like the genealogy background check thing, the new DNA check thing they doing. All this fake stuff is built off this fake stuff. Now, we all know there was no one, taking people's blood and labeling it this name and that name, because we know names of people changed. So grasp. How do they know where you come from? How? People mixing and mingling. Names is changing. We know nobody's taking everybody's blood and putting it in a tube and saying, oh, this is the Aztec people. This the Olmec people. Nobody was doing that. So when they tell you, oh, you come from this or that, it's just made up shit. It's a deep thing y'all don't grasp. Y'all don't think on nothing. Y'all just go with things. So it's really easy for the system to do what it does. You plant a seed and people go with anything. So it's deep. Like deep, deep. But all of this is fake stuff. It's just seeds planted by the oppressor. And it's pushed out by the oppressed to the oppressed as forms of oppression. And this is how you always know when something comes from that cloth, because it becomes a society or or an organization. So it's a very deep thing I want y'all to grasp. When I say that, I mean a business. So don't get lost. Oh, you got a solid society. I don't have anything yet. So just relax. But what I'm doing is something else. I already explained that. It has nothing to do with no business or nothing like that. And it has nothing to do with a bunch of people or me trying to enforce a certain thing on people. It just has to do with people going back to the life and realizing the city is why y'all fucked up. When men begin to turn the forests into cities, they begin to sin against the life in themselves. So it's a deep thing y'all got to grasp. But we got many agendas right before us, and people are falling right into them. It's just like the alien talking stuff. This all started with Orson Welles in 1938 when he did that radio broadcast of the War of the Worlds. Scared everybody half to death. And from then, you get all this alien talking stuff and people getting abducted by aliens. But if you go prior to 1938, you'll hear nothing about alien talk. It's a deep thing. I know some people gonna say, no, George Washington had an alien sighting. But this was spoken of after. Grasp. Nobody prior to 1938 said anything about George Washington and aliens. But this somehow was discovered after. Somehow after Orson Welles' radio broadcast. Then we just happen to find all this paperwork of, people and aliens. Like George Washington. It's deep. People say, oh no, Ezekiel's vision. Ezekiel's vision is speaking about the brain. The thalamus, what the Bible calls the 7 spirits of God or the Lamb of God within the thalamus. This is how you get 7 deadly sins, The 7 spirits of God. 7 deadly... It's deep. Y'all don't grasp shit. But as above, so below. So you're a cell within the solar. The solar is nothing more than what you are. The sun you see is nothing more than what's within your thalamus. And, to the microorganisms within you, what's within your thalamus looks like how our sun looks to us. Because it's all the same, as above, so below, or as above, so within, however you want to say it. But Ezekiel's vision is dealing with that kind of stuff. And I got videos breaking down the thalamus, and I think it's in a video I did called Secrets of Revelations or something like that. But all of this alien talk is new planet stuff, and it was planted in 1938 by the government purposely to get people going into this foolishness. All of these things is planted for purposes to throw y'all off. Before alien talk, before 1938, all you had was giants. Grasp that. Man always spoke of giants. The natives had talks about giants. Everybody had talks about giants. But ain't nobody said nothing about no goddamn aliens. Then out the blue, oh, aliens. Next thing you know, the giants is a part of the alien talk, and this is what strengthens the alien thing, but the alien thing truly has no beginnings. Meaning, it don't go back to nothing solid. You say Ezekiel's vision, that he wasn't talking about aliens. Yes, he was. Well, you say that because you want that to be real. So it's deep. But if you go back prior to 1938, nobody said nothing about no aliens. Mind you, when we speak of aliens, why can't it just be regular people? Y'all seen a UFO. Why can't that just be a new plane that wouldn't that be the first logical explanation? The government is up to new shit. Before any plane you ever seen flying in the sky, it was a secret first. Before you had commercial jets, they were secret. They was used by the government and the military. So you got to get real at some point. But these seeds is planted. And people run with them, and it's like I said, the oppressor oppresses the oppressed. They use the people against the people. They throw y'all off. Then y'all don't realize, like when you read in the Bible and it says, men of old, men of renown, and giants, is speaking of men from the prior cycle. It throws y'all off from grasping astrology and things like this. It puts people in, like I said, it takes people off harmony. If people are all thinking the same thing, this is a powerful energy. It's harmony. It's like a musical orchestra. If the orchestra is all playing whatever they want, the piano guy's playing this, the horn guys is playing whatever they individually want to play, you gonna have confusion. And ain't nothing gonna come of that. Now, if they all start playing in accord with one another, then you get a beautiful tune. And this is energy and frequency. In harmony. This ain't good for the system. Men thinking the same thing all at once, all in harmony, truly believing, this ain't good. Hell nah. They all believe that there were giants. We need something to counteract that. Aliens. Then you had the Oswell's radio broadcast. But my point of doing this video is just to show y'all how everything y'all speak of, it traced back to those y'all say are the oppressors. So if you in a flat earther, that should date back to those that y'all say are the oppressors, the government. They lying to us about the globe earth. Well, those that say the earth is globe is the same ones that came up with the flat earth theory. Scientists of the past are the scientists of today, meaning their offspring. It's a deep thing you have to grasp. The scientists that worked with our government in the past, that said the earth was flat, same kind of scientists that work with our government in today's times, meaning the key word is the government. And they gonna say whatever the government tell them. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. Everything y'all believe comes from the same source. And the whole purpose of all these foolish things being pushed out is just for the purposes of fucking up harmony. We all energy. To get everybody in harmony, that's powerful energy. People start manifesting things that will take them right out of all this dumb thinking shit. Like, hold on. That don't go with what the fuck they talking. And I see this shit, so it's deep. You know, it's many deep things that people in harmony can acquire. This is why the natives even in the African cultures in the past, they would all come together and bang on drums and scream in harmony, energy, in accord. This builds up a lot of energy. A lot of energy. So it's a deep thing. Men thinking the same. It's like an army. If you got every man in the army thinking the same, it's a deep thing. That's a powerful force. This is why when you see the army marching and they're all in accord and it shit look like deep. Man, that shit look deep. It's a science to everything, and everything has to do with harmony. When a man and woman is having sex, this is harmony. They're in accord with one another. They're vibrating on the same frequency. They have the same thoughts in mind. So it's a deep thing. This is why you see everyone believing. This is why you have a bunch of religions. You have a bunch of beliefs. This is why you have nationality. All of these things have a purpose to keep people from harmonizing. Grasp. Nationality dates back to made up. Meaning somebody decided to say, this is my land, this is my nation, and this is my nationality. And if you ain't over here, you separate. This all started with Nimrod, according to the Bible. According to the Enuma Elish, this all started with the gods. Not the gods, because this is what our word that we put on the ancients. So the ancient Kemetic people don't have no Neteru gods, and the ancient Sumerians don't have no Anunnaki gods. But we add that word to it, because that's our thing. So it's deep. The ancient Kemetic people ain't said nothing about no gods. That's our new word, and they don't know nothing of it. Don't put that on them. Same with the Sumerians. God is our new word. Ain't got nothing to do with them. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. But all of this is a matter of, taking people out of the same frequency and harmony. You're thinking this, he thinking that, he's saying this, he's saying that. This causes nothing to happen. So it's a deep thing. It keeps y'all oppressed. It keeps everybody, from grasping. If I'm oppressing you and he's oppressing him and we're all oppressing one another, then we don't grasp anything in that. And the system works together. So you have all the slaves working separately against one another while the system works together in harmony. And this is why we all stuck in this frequency, can't break loose from this trap of the system. Brother Silas said, man, all we got to all stop doing is working at the same time for 7 days. Because I understand energy, frequency, and harmony. And how a thing can just be shattered from that. It's just like the Bible said, they marched around the city for 7 days or some shit like that. And then they blew the trumpets and the wall fell. And y'all think, oh, that was a metaphor. No, it's called energy, frequency, harmony. When you got a bunch of shit, a bunch of energy do what it all do. Now, if you could get the energy together on the same accord, well, then you get things like light, gas, cable, iPhone, grasp, harmony, a bunch of energy moving on the same agenda. So it's a simple thing you got to grasp. All the cells in your body, they got the same agenda. They move in harmony. So you are in being. Now we sick and shit like that because our cells are all out of frequency from one another. Just like we're all out of frequency from one another. And I think this and you think this and this is what they want. And y'all falling into this. So deep that y'all all know the life is all. The forest is truly the truth. And the city is the lie. And when I say things like this, y'all know this is truth. Yet y'all stay with what y'all stay with. Y'all get lost in the dumb shit. No, I can't live in the forest. So then you try to justify the city, not realizing that just because you live in the forest don't mean you can't have everything the city got. Ain't nobody say take away your Wi-Fi, take away your TV. Nobody said take anything from you. Just said go to the forest. Live in small communities and villages like they did in the past. Because when you live in a city, you sinning against the life. You taking away from yourself. The forest provides food, resources to make clothing, homes. It provides all we need. The city takes all this away. The knowledge with it, to where people don't even know how to do these things. So all I'm saying is we got to go back to the forest. Dwell in villages or small communities. Not taking advantage of the forest, making dumbass cities and shit out of it. Get your food directly from the forest and you still got your Wi-Fi, your cable and all these things. Ain't putting you back in prehistoric times. I'm just saying the way we live packed on top of one another. All of this is what creates these problems that we have. It makes us easier to brainwash. We pack people together. You brainwash them out. It's hard to brainwash people when they spread out. Utilizing the space. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp, man. I hope y'all truly can grasp this video, whether you're a flat earther, Pan-African follower, someone who believes in aliens and all these things. Just understand there's an agenda to all these things, and you're being used for that agenda. It's the wise servant, Mr. Solace, Pasampuset. Peace and wisdom.